Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is DeLady Designer. We are back with another episode of our city zoo. And in this episode, if you have seen the Okapi habitat build, you already know that we're going to build a giraffe house, which is going to be inspired of what else? Rotterdam Zoo, aka Blijdorp. Which is my favorite zoo. But yeah, I actually wasn't quite sure if I wanted to use it, but I was looking for some inspiration for a giraffe habitat, and I wasn't really convinced of anything else than the one I knew from Rotterdam Zoo, which is also called the Onion. And this is obviously not a recreation or anything. It definitely has inspiration of it, but it surely is not a recreation of it. Even though you can definitely tell that I use it as inspiration. But yeah, I'm actually really happy that I use this one as inspiration for the giraffe house. I think it looks really nice. I'm really happy with the end result, even though we also used the same habitat as inspiration for the giraffe house we did in Mainland Zoo. You probably have seen my Mainland Zoo series or my franchise mode series where I actually also use this type of building for the giraffes in the franchise mode. So yeah, I actually really do like the building, I guess. So why not just use it again as inspiration for it? Because it's just really cool, and I really hope you guys can get inspired of it as well, because I did see some people being like, oh yeah, I really need some inspiration for a giraffe house. So yeah, hopefully this one will help you for inspiration for your own habitats as well. So yeah, it was quite hard to get the shape of the building right. Like it's a round building, so you really want to make sure that once you duplicate everything to make it round, that it still looks nice and it has this nice round shape to it. So that was quite a challenge for this. And I also did use the plaster pieces, as you can tell, for the detailing and more depth. You can also see this as a reference from the real building. I think they have something like that, but more in like metal, but we don't really have that many metal pieces, so I wasn't really sure if I should use that. So I think the plaster pieces work better in the end. And I also was quite struggling with how I wanted to detail the outside and the inside, because the limestone pieces don't really fit super well, at least not if you completely keep the building in limestone pieces. So I really had to make sure that I found some other materials and some other colors to decorate it with. And in the end, I ended up with the Asian timber wood to decorate the outside and the inside with it. And I think the combination with the limestone and the timber wood looks really nice. I do really like the contrast of it and just like the raw feeling of the wood itself. I think it really does feel super natural and super well, and I think this really blends in super nicely with the city zoo we have going on and the style we have going on. So I do really like this idea that we still stay in the city zoo style with this Onion Rotterdam Zoo inspired giraffe house building. I don't know how else to call it. So obviously we create some windows on the sides, but the building will also have a little area on the top of the building for some more light. So we have a roof window and we have windows on the side. So we have some natural light in the building itself, which I do really like. And also you will see me using some more of the black planks of the game, because I don't know, I just really do like that combination. I keep using it a lot in City Zoo. In every build you will probably see me doing the black planks, but I do really like it for a little bit of contrast and to yeah, give the whole wall a little bit more variation into it. So yeah, when you're creating a dome, for everyone that is new to Planet Zoo, when you're creating a dome, actually the only thing you have to do is like make sure that you have two sides completely detailed, and once you have finished those two, you can just duplicate them and rotate them around. If you have no idea how to do that, I have a tutorial. I made that one I think last year or the year before that. I think pretty soon after Planet Zoo launched, I created this dome tutorial. So if you are interested, definitely go and check out my dome tutorials or any other tutorials. I have tons of tutorials with underwater viewings and path tutorials and so many other things. So definitely go and check those out if you're new to Planet Zoo. So yeah, obviously the front of the building needs to have some kind of entrance for the giraffes to get into. And the downside of that is that the giraffes don't really fit through these opening, so I in the end had to decide to make it more wider and to delete like the plaster pieces in the middle, which was kind of pity because I really did like the look of it, and like in real life obviously the giraffes would be able to walk through it, so it's kind of just disappointing and annoying that the giraffes in the game are not able to walk through it because of their traversable area, which you just know that it would work in real life. So that was kind of annoying, but yeah, we have to work with it. So yeah, in the end I had to remove the middle pillar of the opening of the doorway, but it is what it is, I guess. I will just try to work with the limits I got in this game. So yeah, when making it wider, obviously the giraffes are able to walk in and out, and I actually should have made some kind of doors so it would look like you can close it off. I actually forgot about that, so maybe we can add that in a later stage, but it doesn't bother me. Like, that's more of like a realism thing, but if it's just open like this, I think it doesn't really matter at all. So if you have seen my mainland zoo or my franchise mode series, you would already know that there is going to be a path going through this indoor section, and it will be more raised, so it will be really at eye level of the guests when you have giraffes on the inside eating there or anything. It will be a really cool experience. I think a lot of zoos have something like that with the raised path, having the giraffes on really eye level, and it looks just really awesome. So yeah, obviously we're going to build that too because the Rotterdam Zoo giraffe house has the same thing, obviously. So I really do wanted to have something similar like that as well. I really tried to use the Rotterdam Zoo as a reference for what I was building. And obviously you need to make sure that you have like these door openings on both sides so the path will go through it. So that is quite a challenge with the round building. It's never really going to be super perfect with the pieces you have, but we're going to do our best to make it nice and pretty, of course. The rest of the inside of this giraffe building is going to be very simple. We're going to have a lot of concrete on the floor with hay beddings and of course some enrichment items, and we're also adding a little bit more detail and decoration with the big logs you have in the game. I do really like to use those big logs for elephant habitats and giraffe habitats because I think that is something you see a lot in real life zoos, like those big thick logs to make sure that the giraffe is not being able to get to some places. So we did use those logs more often in this whole habitat build. So on one side of the habitat, this path from the indoor section goes around the habitat, so the guests can also have a good glimpse inside of the habitat on eye level with the giraffes itself on the outdoor section. So that is really nice, and that is also something I got as a reference from Rotterdam Zoo. And underneath that path there will be a custom fence made with the pillars of the habitat structures because, well, you can't just use those for decoration, so it doesn't really matter because these animals can't really climb, so that is all good. And to make it a little bit more realistic, I used the chain link fence underneath it to really close it off, because when I started building this, I actually had the idea to maybe combine the giraffe with the ostrich, and later I thought, okay, maybe I'm gonna have two different habitats next to each other with like just a natural fence in between, so you don't really see that it's a fence. But then on one side we would have like the African buffalo and the ostrich, and on the other side would be the giraffes. But at the end of the day, I really thought that the giraffe habitat was too small, so it didn't look well to me, and I decided to skip the idea of the African buffalo and the ostrich. So we maybe will add those at the Jeep Safari or something we're going to add in the zoo later on. But for now, it's only going to be a giraffe habitat without any other animals. I think many people create a giraffe habitat in Planet Zoo, combining them with other animals, because you do see that they have like this enrichment bonus when you combine them with other species. But I, in this case, just really wanted to focus on the giraffe itself. And I do think that Rotterdam Zoo itself only has giraffes in their habitat, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So if you guys know, if you're Dutch, do let me know. But as far as I remember, I think they only have giraffes in this habitat, so why not? So on the other side of the habitat, the giraffes will get like this natural area where they can drink some water, because you know me and the water pipes, I don't really like them. So I really wanted to make sure that these animals do have this natural area where they can drink from, and they maybe are able to cool down, but I don't really think that is possible because the water is very shallow. So I only wanted to make sure that they are able to drink from it, but I think they can also still walk a little bit through it, but that I have not seen them doing it, and there's not really reason for them to go there, so I don't think they will do that unless they want to cool down. I don't really know if they are able to cool down if it's only with their feet in the water actually. But what I really tried to do, I wanted to use these small little rocks from the aquatic pack, my favorite rocks of all times. I wanted to use those as a natural boundary because I did realize that when you have clusters of those small little rocks, you can create natural boundaries for animals. I don't know if it works with all the animals, but at least for the giraffe, they were not, as soon as you put down more rocks in a cluster, they were not able to walk over it. So I was really happy with that because that is going to be super useful and super natural for a lot of areas, and I did really like to use these small little rocks for these details, and also use these rocks a lot in that water section. Like the complete flooring of that water section is basically filled with all those small little rocks because it just looks really, really good. I really would recommend it to anyone that has this pack, obviously. And also combining that with like a little bit of grass peeking through those little rocks, I think it looks fantastic, honestly. I really, really like it. I know, I haven't been talking about these small little rocks and the rock set in general, like in every episode. I'm just super excited for it. But in the Okapi habitat, I already told you guys that I was experimenting with those rocks a little bit more. Like, what else can you do with it? And this is something that I'm just really happy that it works. It looks super natural, super well. So yeah, of course I am excited and happy with these new rocks because it's giving us so many new possibilities. Not only with like the bigger rocks and the formations you can create, but also just the small little details. I don't know. I just really do like how this has turned out in the end, and I think it looks really well. So yeah, the whole habitat will be kind of surrounded by these clusters of these small little rocks. Also more clusters a little bit in the middle of the habitat to create a little bit more detailing and still make sure that the giraffes are able to walk there. And in general, there are only, I think, 3 or 4 simple trees in the habitat because obviously you want to make sure in general or in real life you actually don't really have that many trees that they're able to reach because they're obviously going to eat them. But I didn't want to completely keep the habitat plain and barren, so I only used like 3 or 4 trees, and that's basically it. There's nothing else of green inside of the habitat except for grass. So I do really like that because I think that is way more realistic. But if you look at the habitat, it actually doesn't really feel plain at all. And I think that's mostly to do because of those small little rocks and stuff, because they give so much detailing and you have the beautiful grass, and I think it looks really well. I'm super happy with the end result, even though it's simple and realistic. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and I do really hope that I can inspire you guys, especially with these rocks and with this habitat itself, for your own zoos, of course. I do really hope that. And in general, I just hope that you guys like this build as much as I do. So yeah, now the question is going to be where I'm going to add the African buffalo and the ostrich. As I said, I might go and add them at the Jeep Safari we're going to start later. I'm not really sure when we're going to start it. I also really want to continue the Little Asia area that we have in City Zoo. So I'm probably going to switch a little bit in between the Little Asia area and maybe the African area. So maybe one Asian animal and then one African animal, and we're going to switch that up until we are finished. Like, I mean, there are not that many habitats left and there's not that much space left. Well, there's always much space left. There's a lot of space left, but I do have this plan of where I want animals to be and stuff. I did pin it, I think, in my Discord server if you're curious what the map is and what I planned out for this zoo. Like, as I mentioned, like, the plans obviously are going to change along the way, just like I'm now being like, okay, what am I going to do with the ostrich and the African buffalo? But I think I'm going to have it pretty easy because we're having a lot of African animals at the Jeep Safari. So obviously it's not going to be too hard. There's probably going to be a habitat with the zebras and other animals where I can combine it with. So it's not going to be that much of an issue, but maybe in the future there will be some changes. But for those that are new to the channel, you probably have no idea, but we did a voting, like, I think it's already a year ago, which is basically insane. But you guys voted for a huge poll, what were your favorite animals at that point, obviously, because there were not, I don't think there were any DLCs included even, but I could be wrong. But I was just curious what kind of animals were your favorite animals. So I used that poll for City Zoo to create some kind of roadmap and to create the areas, what kind of animals we're going to add. And along the way, I think a lot of things already changed, but I think that's just natural because some things fit and some things not. But I think your top 10 most favorite animals are still going to be added in the zoo. So it's more like me adding more animals than was voted for, most likely. So yeah, I don't know. I still have that one. So if you guys are curious what the idea was back then, definitely just ping me on Discord and ask me to send it over, just like the map. I still have it pinned in Discord, so I think the other one should be somewhere around there. But yeah, for those that have missed that completely, that is still a thing. We're still following this kind of roadmap, and I made a map. I drew a map for myself just to get an idea of where I want the animals to be, and I never really do that. I never really plan anything out, but it was kind of cool to do that poll with you guys to see what kind of animals you guys would want to see and if we could combine that with our city zoo plans. So yeah, I'm just really excited and so happy with this whole series. Like, some people are like, yeah, but the series is already so old, but still, like, every habitat is a new habitat and every animal is a new addition to our zoo, and I don't really see why it matters that we are at probably episode 50 or something. Like, just imagine, this is like the progress of creating a complete zoo that takes time, and there are so many animals in here and so much creativity. I think it's just amazing. I love it that we are so far in this series already. I think there is so much progress and so much creativity in this series. I really do like that. So yeah, for everyone that doesn't really enjoy it, yeah, well, I'm sorry, but I am really enjoying building in this series. This is the city zoo I am the most proud of. There is so much work into this zoo, and I'm going to complete it someday, and I'm going to be so proud of what I've achieved in such a long period of time. But yeah, I'm just super excited for when it ends, of course, but I really hope it's gonna take a while still, because I'm just so much enjoying building in City Zoo still. So yeah, for everyone that does enjoy it, thank you for sticking around. I really do appreciate it. Do let me know in the comment section down below. So yeah, obviously, do let me know what you guys also think of this giraffe house inspired of Rotterdam Zoo. Leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed, and subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. And if you want to support the channel a little extra, you may want to consider to become a Fay Fam member with the link down in the description or the join button of YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I really hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye guys!